Welcome back, United fans. My name is Chris Walker, and this is the State of United, a podcast on the Seek and Strike Network dedicated to covering New Mexico United. Joining me is my co-host, Veronica Zavala. Veronica, how you doing tonight?
Doing great after that marvelous win we just had.
Yeah, it definitely was a very exciting match tonight at the lab. In this episode, we'll definitely talk about the results of the match between North Carolina FC and New Mexico United. But before we dive into those results and some of our reactions, uh, Veronica, what would be your one-liner after this match?
My one-liner. I would say great things happen in the last minutes of the game.
Okay, I definitely could echo the sentiment. Uh, it's funny because, you know, before starting this pod, I was really thinking that the scoreline was a little different and for different reasons. But I will say uh, that Thomas was among us at the lab tonight. That would be my reaction. Clever quip. Uh, 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 Veronica, going into the match tonight, really just talking about some of the things you saw. Where would you like to start? Like, what is something that really stuck out to you?
Well, going back, I'm going to go back to our score predictions for a minute. I actually didn't have United winning this match. Carolina has been kind of playing very well this season, and I knew that they were going to give us definitely a run for our money, and I really believe that they came out full force. They were making some incredible passes. They knew where our what's it called, our shortcomings on the pitch. They knew where those were, and they were able to kind of play along that. I think they were trying to score goals on us within the first 10, 15 minutes of the match. So they definitely came in with everything that they had.
Right. So North Carolina FC initially kind of sticking to their game plan. We previewed it this week on the podcast. First, we got to give a shout out to our other co-host Patrick Baca, who is not with us tonight. He is chaperoning a bunch of schoolers for the esports competition. So, Patrick, shout out! We got to give you a shout out to you. And we're actually live here at Bosgate Hill following the game. We've got a couple of friends here just chilling out, some drinks. The scenery is real nice, thought we'd go live and just kind of talk a little bit about the match. Obviously we don't know tonight's the music playing overhead, but the sounds are great, the drinks are good, the food is nice. So maybe consider giving to Bosque after a match for the home matches. Veronica, I just want to jump back in here a little bit. Talk about some different storylines heading into this match. Me and Patrick over the week, and one of the things we talked about was, will questions get answered against North Carolina FC, and in specifics, the formation, what that might have looked like. So. We know earlier in this match that North Carolina FC was pressing high, right? We know that they were certainly asking questions of our back line. Certainly not deviating from their game, as far as pressing high, looking for advantageous points of the pitch to send in crosses as far as the delivery. I think when you consider this is their first time playing at the lab, how do you kind of rate North Carolina FC as far as kind of sticking to their game a little bit?
They had a 5-4-1 line, so they definitely wanted to keep both of their lineups fully what's it called? They were just they had two full lineups, and they were able to kind of create like a good wall there to our 4-1-4-1 formation that we had. So I believe that they definitely knew what we were going to be coming with.
Right on. Veronica, we've got a live caller that we're going to add to the show.
Oh, okay.
He might got it. Once he connects his mic, we'll be able to add him back. But
All right. I love when we get live guests.
Okay, there we go. Let's bring him on here. Welcome, Cass, to the show. Hey, Cass, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. Yeah.
Right on. So, Cass, you got to catch the match tonight. You know, it's customary of us to ask everyone who comes onto the show the one-line sentence that you might have as a reaction to the match.
I was very encouraged by how they played. I'm very optimistic after tonight. I thought they did really well on the attack. Seemed very coordinated, organized. I liked it. Very optimistic.
Right. So, as we were just kind of saying a little bit before we got to the show, we knew North Carolina was going to be very vertical. We also knew they were going to sit back when teams try to counter. So North Carolina FCFC obviously came with what they advertised. What do you think kind of how things will play out in the first half? Because it seemed like United really didn't have a solution as far as how to get into the final third and really make an impact. It seemed like they were playing more into what North Carolina's game plan was, which was trying to figure out how to not give them space in the final third.
Yeah, you might be right. I'm trying. I don't even know if I can remember the first half that much. I thought kind of felt like North Carolina played back a lot more. Like they allowed New Mexico to keep possession for the majority of that game, actually. And yeah, it took a while for us to solve that final part and to get those goal opportunities or those shots on goals. But I thought New Mexico played well in tight spaces. They had some great runs, great passes to people making runs, and they were trying to figure it out. And in the meantime, they were kind of keeping possession. There were a few opportunities that North Carolina had on transition where they, it was the scares, but it didn't seem like a frequent attack by them. And I felt pretty comfortable that if New Mexico kept trying, they would eventually get those opportunities to score. And yeah, they just got it late, but it worked. It was awesome. So yeah, I'm not a soccer genius. I don't know anything. I just have vibes.
You're doing great. So I have a question. What was it in the second half? Right, we had an almost goal.
Oh, the
What was your thought on that when you saw that happen?
As soon as he shot it, I immediately looked at the side judge. I was like, "Oh, that I don't know." And then, yeah, sure enough, he raised, but everyone was celebrating. It was like, "Well, that's." But I mean, I was encouraged that when we took the shot. It seemed like in the past we would just kind of play a circle and wait for that perfect shot, and then. But tonight it seemed like we were actually attacking. We were taking shots that maybe weren't perfect, but we were getting them. I don't know. I thought a much better attack tonight than I've seen in a while.
Yeah, watching this, as you're kind of watching the first half kind of prevail and going into the second half, it seemed like they started to figure out that they needed to change up their tactics a little bit. It wasn't so much about the team trying to do an extra play from, the defensive third into the final third. It wasn't as much link-up play through the midfield. I figured that North Carolina obviously wasn't addressing any sort of counter to it. It wasn't really resolving to them. United started to kind of focused on like overloads to like the right side, try to
Right.
hit several times. They also really tried to try to get the ball into the air. We saw the player call several times make runs. We saw Fernando make runs. Let's just kind of talk about that a little bit. I mean, talk about seeing like Fernando and like Paulo really try to kind of create and make different opportunities for the team, especially with Greg playing more of a full time.
No, I thought our wing play was amazing. I really liked it. I really love Seymour this season, making those runs and getting more involved in the offense. But yeah, no, they would have those long passes to Akali. He did a really great job of just trapping it, keeping it in play, making a usually a nifty pass to a guy running on. We found the people that were making the runs, and that was great. And then Fernando, a lot of creativity there, a lot of creating chances for other people. No, it was I was really encouraged tonight by how they played.
We definitely saw a lot of rookie chances. I mean, let's talk about Sergio Rivas coming off the bench. I mean, it was funny because I was kind of talking about Sergio about something completely different, and all of a sudden he's on the pitch. Like within moments, he's like chipping the keeper. And what I thought was going to be a good goal, obviously ruled offside, but just talk about Sergio Rivas being able to come on and make these
Well, I mean, yeah, he got involved immediately. It was a great move to bring him in. He connected with the other players very well. He instantly like became a part of the team and like was like making an impact. Again, I can't speak intelligently.
Yeah, no, but it's because like you're coming off the bench, that's your time to spend. I mean,
Yeah.
So I was just thinking, hey, this team how well they were able to kind of put that together. This team, even though they were counted, it gave the team more confidence because if you notice there seemed to be a lot more quality out there. But all of a sudden, the season was really attacking. Felt like before that, they were really able to kind of play that.
Now that you mention it, I think he brought a little more aggressiveness to the team. I didn't think about it until now, but I think you're right. When he came on, they had a little more aggressiveness, which is really nice. And you're probably right. That's probably what led to the victory. I was thinking they would just keep opportunities, but I think Rivas brought that extra element.
Man, there were just so many great chances. I mean, we'll see more look like Dylan with that opportunity. I mean, we saw that behind the goal. What's going on here? It seemed like in North Carolina that teams go well with their defensive. It just seemed like things just kind of gave way. I wonder if they aren't as sharp when teams are crashing the box versus outside the
I mean, I don't know. I've never seen North Carolina until tonight.
Will Seymour was continuously just looking for opportunities. He was definitely there on the front lines, and he did have about three attempts at a goal today. So he was just kind of like, and I noticed that both teams are actually doing these super big long passes. Like when it came to the goal net, they were just trying, and it's something that they don't normally do. They usually try to shoot it closer, but I was noticing that they were just shooting clear across the net. Like this evening between the two teams, that was just and I don't know if that's because of the competitiveness that we saw on the pitch or not.
Yeah, I mean, it was trying to think how Catch one of that prop.
No, I'm sorry.
I'm not complaining. I had to go to you.
Like they were definitely a little bit more.
Like I said,
I just still at that point they were a little bit more comfortable taking their shots. After that goal, like I said, I watched the game differently, so I thought the Surge were talented, and I thought, well, now they're playing News, they have a goal lead. Now you're seeing Ronaldo who's getting some good looks, and I thought maybe he was going to be one.
I thought he scored at first. I thought it went off, ricocheted off one of their players, but then I saw that Among hit it. And
Yeah, it just seemed to play that.
Like sneak that ball in there.
So
Let's
let's
talk
talk
about
about
this.
this. Long comes on,
And
with his moments, he has an impact in the game too. So it's like that's what I thought about the bench. Is
Yeah.
that they came on and they made the one of the better. So it wasn't like the games didn't shit, but definitely their transitions were stuff.
yeah, no, they brought a lot of fresh energy. I thought, yeah, for sure. Everyone in my section was yelling for Bruce, but then they put in Gaines, and I thought, oh, that was the right move. Yeah, I like Gaines a lot. So, but yeah, they all brought energy and kind of raised it a little higher level. I thought.
I really wonder who the team is going to be raw because
I-
it really was some profile like this is the situation, and really
For your minutes, like, well,
until those blow-offs
were happening. It really was just looking like, okay, it's the stop and the getting score, and they're able to move the ball up the middle of the field. But it just really couldn't find that final piece. And then for North Carolina, it was like, we're immediately striking together. We're immediately getting the ball together, these stick crosses into the box. United conceded quarters. It was just like exactly like a team coming in and being able to stick with their game plan. And you don't normally see that from the nations coming in and hey, we're good for it.
and I don't.
You look at the what attributes to that, whether it's because you're off the league. One of our other storylines, this week was what United was going to see. What we're going to see the United was Las Vegas, outside goals. They were finally going to win at the end, or we're going to see United in El Paso, where it was going to be a total situation. So they could, just keep pressuring the country, or we're going to see Miami as United. A team that is not doing so well in the USL, but found a way to be disruptive long enough to either have failed themselves or essentially succeeded themselves. So I feel like how should we look at the next United for the next journey? Like, which one do you think we got?
I lean maybe a little more towards El Paso, that kind of team. But I guess the game that sticks out in my mind was the Sacramento, the first one, right? Where I just like it was like a huge gap. Like the midfield just seemed like it wasn't there. Ryden was making a ton of mistakes. I felt like Ryden played a lot better to down. He wasn't doing the dumb passes. He wasn't committing dumb penalties. We seemed a little more cohesive from defensive midfield, even though we kind of skipped some of the midfield. We just go to the forwards, but it just seemed overall like a much more improvement over that first game, and then comparing it to other games. It was like El Paso in that it seemed like it was a late goal, and so there's similarities there. But but overall, I think the attack tonight just seemed so much better. We were just finding people a lot. People were making runs without the ball. We were finding those people on those runs, and even though they didn't always end in shots or goals, it seemed like we were putting some pressure on them. And I just thought it was a matter of time. If we kept it up, we would score, and I wasn't that worried. And then, I felt like North Carolina had like maybe 4 or 5 really good opportunities, but I wasn't that worried about them. I mean, they had a few, but like I felt like New Mexico dominated possession, was the better team most of the night, clearly, and yeah, it was just a matter of time they were going to score and then win.
Yeah, and so it seemed like a complete game. Veronica, you know, Cass makes a good point actually. Like there really weren't very many like mistakes. I mean, if you really think back to the game, there weren't really, to me, I guess anything that's a bad giveaway.
Right.
It seemed like United was far more disciplined. I think if there was anything I would highlight, it would probably be just like, in the beginning there was that yellow card that Paulie got, right?
Oh, for the dive.
And so many people were like, oh, that shouldn't have been a card. It's like, well, no, but it really was the right call. I mean,
I can tell there was
yeah, it really didn't seem like there was contact. Oh, it looks like we lost Cass. He may have dropped.
Come back, gentlemen. I mean, I know like there were a bunch of yellow cards today. And I know that we were kind of like at first, but upon watching some of the replays, we kind of felt that the yellow cards were actually valid. I know there was one where we were like, well, he really didn't touch him. Was that a caller or was that who took the quick caller?
Yeah, the first one was like the caller. I mean, he was obviously making a stride into the box, and I mean, even from my vantage point, I didn't think that the other player had really had any physical contact with him. But obviously, when you're sitting in the supporter section and like everyone's kind of got their hands up in arms, everyone's at some point it's like, well, no, guys, like this actually wasn't all.
I certainly did see everybody go in an uproar over that one, but when they showed the replay, I think we both agreed that it's like, wait a minute.
I mean, North Carolina was definitely on it, trying to like embellish and create, situations for fouls. I mean, but we kind of knew that going into the game that we were going to see a little bit of that physicality. I was just really surprised that, some of how they were able to successfully pull off more or less, right? So then, it's like, what else kind of stands out to you about the match tonight?
I mean, I think our team after that, I'm gonna call it the fake goal, or the goal that deceived us all. That wasn't a goal. After that goal, I think that our team really just they realized that if we're gonna do something, we better really set about to do that. And that's the one thing. I mean, overall, I'm gonna say this is one of the more entertaining matches that we've seen in a minute because both teams really just brought like their A game to our pitch, and it was entertaining. It was suspenseful. It was fun. It had a lot of a crowd yelling at the poor refs, and refs is like, I'm just trying to do my job. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna say that I think after that goal, I think United realized that they better actually really score a sticking goal, and it was great. It was great when it finally did happen. But it was an entertaining game. It was one of the best ones we've seen in a minute.
Let's talk about the lineup a little bit. I knew we didn't really get to kind of crack into that from the get-go. United was in like what they want to say on Foul Model 4-1-4-1. Obviously, it's, it could be anyone, right? But so let's talk a little bit about this lineup. In the back four, we had Seymour playing the right fullback. We had Maples and Riley playing the center backs. We had Jalen and Lindsay playing the left back. We had Getty and Zalalo sitting in the midfield along with Fernando and Usman Cobain, Marlon Vargas, Nicola Paulo for the next set, and of course, first up.
If you think about Greg Hurst, right? He started off the season with the bowl game. It was kind of easy for us fans to kind of grasp on. Like, if this is something that we're gonna get used to or we can expect, right? And the last couple of games, we really haven't seen that for it. But also, Greg Hurst is taking a different role. I mean, clearly, teams were like, well, love to see what this does. This is where Coach Sanchez could really kind of play more of his false games. Guys, let's talk about how well head coach Sanchez is doing coaching from Adam's side. Clearly, we kind of see a little bit of head coach. The style, right? So, like, one thing I'll say is with head coach Eric Cole, like, there is a sort of confidence that he will exude from the team members. Like, you can feel it from the stands. Like, you can feel, I guess you can feel his effect on the game. And maybe that's because he was a player, and spent so many years in so, he never really kind of bring up his instincts or mentality. So a lot of times you just do like, okay, these guys are playing confident, the scoreline doesn't matter, they're just getting the game. But with this is, I don't know if it's the fact that he knows that head coach Glenn Sanchez is still kind of a bigger coach, and so he's still kind of building his foundation in Mexico. So really, it's like a little bit of players that are veterans who relates back to Haley Johnson, and he's still kind of navigating through everything. It's different, like the coaches that have been around for like 10 years. It's like, but the style is a little different. But I guess it's a good thing, like, just given the team and how it's playing, just talk about how well it's coaching.
We are seeing his coaching style come through on United. We're seeing a far more confident team that we even saw, I believe, with Quill. No disrespect to Quill. Quill is a great coach, but I really feel like now he's starting. He sees the strengths in the player and each player has, and I believe that's what he was able to do in Vegas because he did a lot of really great things in Vegas in a very short amount of time. And I believe that we are definitely seeing his coaching style. When you hear him talk like the pressers, everything that he was sharing about, like even when I went to Miami and he was saying like, we're gonna work hard these 4 days, and then when we get to Miami, I want you guys to have like a break, and then we're gonna give it our all on the pitch. And I think that like that's good for them because they know how hard you play hard, and I really believe that that's part of coaching. I also believe that he does have a lot of faith in these gentlemen and this team, and he's able to pick out the strengths that they all have, so that he can create proper formations. I definitely think that we're just seeing overall like the team that we wanted to see since 2019. A lot more confident, less afraid to take chances, more aggressive on the field. And the fact that we lost the USL standings, I think, speaks volumes to our current coach's coaching style.
Very well said. We have another caller. We're going to add
Oh, welcome.
Welcome to the State United.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Right on. Max,
So,
so, obviously,
you've been
in,
listening
in
to
on the
the
conversation,
conversation.
what
What
do
do
you
you
want to
want to
say
say
about
about
tonight's
tonight's
match?
match?
Today was a really great game, a really good building block for the rest of the season. I mean, I have to give North Carolina some credit. This season, they have actually pulled off a couple of really big wins. Anybody who's been following USL knows Charleston is a major player year in and year out. They've got a staple win against Charleston. They've beaten sorry, they've beaten Tulsa. It's a shame that we lost one of our best players some time ago to Tulsa, but Tulsa's great this year. They've got a staple win there, and also this year the only loss that they've had is actually to Loudoun United, which is number one in the East right now. Today the team actually did some really great work. I thought their transition play was fantastic compared to previous games. I mean, Miami got a couple of really good shots off against us due to United, which is slow in transition. Today, Bryden and Maples really locked down the back, kept the chances from North Carolina to a minimum in transition play, which is really their strength. The team played the 5-4-1 offense, so that was a really positive match overall.
Right.
What did any of you guys think about Talon Maples? You guys can hear me? What do either of you guys think about what Talon Maples did on the pitch today?
I think he's taken over that defense. I like him. Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of him last season. Maybe he's still green and learning the system, but I think he's really taken over and he's become a real asset staple to that defense. So I've become a fan this year.
I mean, he certainly creates a lot of good passing opportunities.
Yeah,
And he has been consistent in every match that he's been so far. And I
for,
think he just keeps improving and improving, and that also speaks to our coach about his coaching style, where he's able to properly train them as to how to showcase their strengths on the field and put them right at the right place. And I think that we're going to see a lot more of that as the season progresses.
yeah. No, I've been really encouraged with his play. Um, yeah, last season he seemed shaky. He just couldn't quite do it, and now he seems really solid. So this has been a great addition.
Hey, what do you guys think about this ratio here? So United had a total of 633 passes. North Carolina had 186 passes.
No,
What do
I,
you what do you think about that?
I believe. I mean, it fits. I thought New Mexico had control of the game most of the game. I mean, North Carolina had a few opportunities, but for the most part, New Mexico was able to find their passes, work the ball, control it, and it was just a matter of time before they scored.
So I think bad statistics actually in overall soccer is to look at the completed passes. I've never liked the statistics from teams. There's a lot of teams that do a lot of passing in the backfield to try and pad the stats. I mean, we've seen this from United in the past as well. I think not Loudon. I think North Carolina definitely had their chances today, especially in transition. They've gotten a couple really dangerous crosses across the box. That's a team that really only needs one or two chances. Because I bet you that if when we look at the shot on goal, we're going to be about equal. Maybe United's going to be up one or two because United, I feel, shot more tonight. But it's not going to be a huge differential in that stat. And that's really what matters at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's good.
Good.
Oh, I was
I was
going
going
to
to
say,
say,
it's
it's
just
just
really
real
interesting
interesting
when
when
you
you
look
look
at
at
it.
it.
I
I
mean,
mean,
not to get too deep in it, but it's like both sides were fairly equal as far as total shots. United had 12, North Carolina had 10, and, shots on target, two apiece, so you really see a lot of teams that have very little indirect play. Because North Carolina, if you think about it, was very much very direct play. United was definitely
Okay.
swinging the ball around.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of the over rotation happened. I think that's what normally is what gets them in trouble when they finally ever find that final ball. Is
that they're tightening around scoring runs. But I do believe some of that is tied to scoring, the other side, because that's where we started to see some of the daylight we do with, as far as on-goal run or with, Paulo being able to just like break the line and keep it right from the line. I think the only thing I felt was missed was just like that lane for like Greg Hurst really to kind of be able to slide in. We just really didn't have that opportunity.
Yeah, Gregor's used seemed a little quiet, but I don't know that I've ever seen Greg Hurst as like he's a finisher, maybe not a playmaker. Right. I was a huge Moreno fan because I thought like Moreno could create more than a lot of the offensive players at that time. And Hurst is, if you can get it on his foot, he can put in a goal, but you have to. He's not necessarily going to weave through the defense and create those opportunities. You have to kind of aid him to get those opportunities.
It's really an interesting time for Greg Hurst too, because before he came to Mexico, he was definitely more of like a striker. And, but obviously, Phoenix had a different playing style kind of time. They were always a team that would get out front to a spot
he could run,
chase it down on the left wing, and then basically take it in for like a shot. But we don't really kind of have that sort of transition. And that's something that maybe we talk about tonight. We didn't really have much success, like turning over a ball that we want in our final third. That obviously leads to North Carolina being really clinical to make sure that they, stayed there to kind of pressure impacts when we had a ball. Or, they were definitely looking for any second chance at that they did.
Yeah.
So I want to jump in for this. So I think Greg Hurst is more of a set piece fan now. Like we have to actually actively work to get the ball to him. So something that's not been brought up tonight is if you actually looked at North Carolina's play, while it says it's a 5-4-1, they actually had 9 men within 10 yards of each other most of the game. So the entire first half, it was really hard to break that 9-man midfield, is what it actually became for them. I think over time, when United started pressing, especially that Sergio Rivas almost goal that got called off offsides, really started to spread out the back line to 5 from the 4, and now gave people a chance to get the ball closer to Hurst's foot. But previous to that, it was really hard for United to push the ball up to Hurst.
I think they know that New Mexico is dangerous with short shots. So, like, for example, like they tend to shoot not too far from the actual goal net usually. And I believe that North Carolina had studied that, and that's why they were just clustering. Because I did see that too. I noted that like they were all always in a continuous cluster, and I was like, okay, because they know. And then look, we still got inadvertently 2 goals on them at close range, which is what we're kind of known for doing. We don't normally score goals far from the goal net. We normally shoot them closer. So I believe that's why they were just like, creating that what's it called, swarm of bees and whatever. They were.
One of the things we also talked about too on our preview show on Wednesday is the other storyline we talked about was would United have learned a lesson in Miami that they didn't learn in El Paso or against El Paso? And what we meant by that is like after the El Paso game, head coach Denver Sanchez talked about how they needed to have a lot more connected play and to be a little closer in transition so they can obviously make those passes and kind of thread the ball around. Miami, you really didn't see that. For the most part, Miami kind of blew up this field and kept United around to, kind of put time together. So we saw United press to the edges of the pitch and figure out how to create opportunities for themselves. Meanwhile, Miami, like, dead center, like, some opportunities. They obviously made it good for themselves. I don't know if I think we definitely tried to dictate running up the middle. We saw it. and obviously did do that, but you almost wonder, like, you know, is that part of like what maybe is affecting the game? Because we want to drive up the middle, but the defense is able to sit back. You almost wonder if it's just really something that you want to keep to. You know what I mean? Because effectively, we weren't able to play that way these last two games. We could tonight, and necessarily didn't, I guess it didn't really leave like as much magic.
It's kind of neat, right?
Well, I would say it's really rare to find teams that can actually drive the ball up the middle. Right? Classic side strategy for the last 10 years has easily been drive it up the wings and then find a really good serve into the 18-yard box with a finisher. So I don't know if that's really a weakness right now, but I definitely echo the strategy that, or the comment I should say, that we've had connected play. I think it's been already mentioned before, but earlier in the season, the midfield was kind of missing. Right, we've had our defense try and drive the ball up. You saw some really deep runs from our defense, but that left the defense open now in transition because the defense is both now leading the attack and having to defend in transition against an opposing attack. And that's where we faltered. Right now, we have that connected play that really brought the midfield into the situation. And I also think that right now we actually have a shifting midfield with. You saw it tonight. Zico Bailey didn't start. He was on the bench and brought in later.
Right. That's a good point.
I guess in the past, I felt like we always ran through the central mid. We'd have like Guzman, we had Portillo,
Right.
even Bailey last year. A lot of the offense went through him. And now I feel like this year we do less through the central mid. We go more on the wings. We have Seymour making the runs. We have Fernando. We have Akale. We're finding the outside more than we are going towards the inside, like the middle.
Well,
It's my general impression.
yeah, good point. And also, I mean, I
I
know
know how to put it. Like, I think why I feel like the commander really suffers because
we're not able to get back right away. Like, we can't really when we win the ball. It's not like guys are like go to the spot.
Right.
Like that game is still developing. It's not like, hey, when we get it, I'm running to the top corner. It's kind of like you play kind of exactly that.
Oh, yeah.
By that point, I mean, the opportunity is like
the rest of players.
Right.
So I mean, I feel like that's one thing we want to see. We want to see like how United is able to win the ball. Whether it's in the middle third or final third, like how do they really like put it back out?
Huh.
We got a nice back. I had a nice back. All right.
There you go. Max, your mic is muted.
Connected problem. There's that.
There it is. Oh, we lost you.
Lost you again.
I think the thing that stuck out to me the Sacramento game sticks out to me the most.
Yeah.
And
why does it stick around to you? For me, the reason why it stuck out to me
because it felt like you started off with ready finish.
Yeah, the last season. The thing that struck me on that game was like their forwards are pressing or keeping our defense back, and then our midfield couldn't recover. And like, I forget who was on Sacramento, but their midfielder, like 10 or 16 or whatever, he was creating all their opportunities, and we just couldn't keep up with him. And they were really attacking us out of the midfield more than the forwards. And now I don't know that we have that issue. Maybe just be the competition we're playing now is different. But like our defense isn't back. There isn't that huge gap between our defense and our midfield that there was at that first game, and that's what I think is the encouraging thing. Like, okay, we look better overall than we did that first game,
Right.
which is kind of
Yeah, I
scary.
mean, like again, like today, overall, I think today was a very enjoyable game. I felt like we were able to really minimize like shenanigans or
Oh yeah,
it felt like just a close, complete game. I mean, like I just feel like
solid.
it just took more of a game for us to figure out how to answer the questions, and I think North Carolina needs to just kind of sit back and kind of think on the fact that we were slowly but surely linking up the wrongs. And once we figured it out, this is how the is Veronica, and he like basically beat the player, right? The player slid in for a tackle, and then I was like, oh, this is really ball fixed.
Yeah,
He would have blasted that man.
yeah.
But it's those opportunities that are going to manifest. But I think he's really fun.
Yeah. He looked a lot better though too from that first game. He came in. I think he subbed in against Sacramento. He didn't look that comfortable, or he wasn't just connecting as well.
Right. Yeah.
Like I felt like most of the offense in that first game was Hurst and Gaines on the left side, and now I feel like we're more all sides were attacking. I think Fernando's in there.
Yeah.
So
As we kind of start to wrap this conversation up, New Mexico United will play El Paso next, third round of the Open Cup. This is going to be UNM soccer contest, obviously not which is kind of a bummer, but it is finally time for us to get into the Open Cup. There's been a lot of great matches as of late. What are you guys kind of feeling about this Open Cup edition of the Darby Club Speedway audience? This one with a previous one.
Man, we just played them. It's so soon.
What can we do for it?
Yeah, I hope we dominate a little bit more this game and continue the trend where you seem the upward trend of just controlling and attacking. Still miss Moreno.
Right. Veronica, sir, I guess we kind of talk about this competition, but
Does anybody want anything else?
I guess as we're wrapping this conversation, is there anything else that you want to add to the conversation before we call this one good?
I just want to say that I'm excited for the next match. We have a game happening on Wednesday. Is it on Wednesday?
Right?
Is that game on Wednesday, the Open Cup match?
We have a match next week.
I'm excited. I'm just excited for the season because I think it's one of the best that we've had in.
Right, yeah. It's good. Well, we appreciate Cass and thanks for joining the show tonight. We had fun. Obviously, we're here at Boston Hill, there's the brews and the food and whatnot. So, we thank our Patreon members for watching the episode. On the platform. Those who popped in watch the live, we appreciate you. For those who will want to check out our previews, we do pop previews on Apple and Spotify as well as other match reviews. Check those out and definitely leave us a episode comment or rate the episodes as well. Veronica, that's it. For Veronica Zavala, I am Chris Walker, and you've been listening to a post-match edition of the State of United. Good night.